Welcome to One More with Danny Coleman. I am Danny Coleman, and I am the host of your program this evening. This is the show that is going to bring you one more artist, one more musician, one more author, one more comedian, one more of anything that we can think of.
Whoa.
See, that's right. We're going to bring you one more of everything here. Coming to you live from Monmouth Music on Monmouth Street in beautiful downtown Red Bank, New Jersey. I want to thank Mario DiBartolo, the owner of Monmouth Music, for bringing us, that's right, clap for Mario, for bringing us into his lovely establishment. There he is, Mario. We say hi to Mario, as always. And again, I am Danny Coleman. I am your host. We have two sponsors this evening, one of which is Mario DiBartolo, right here of Monmouth Music. And the other, let me get my glasses out. That's correct, is the Downtown All-Stars of Red Bank and their charity function. They have another CD coming out. We'll be hearing a little bit more from them very soon in the program. But tonight, my guest is Montclair area, right? Montclair area is a fellow musician and a fellow that I'm proud to call a friend, Mr. Rick Winow. Yeah, there, now you can clap for you. Clap for yourself. Very good.
Of course.
Hello, Rick.
Hi, Danny. How you doing? Long time no see.
I'm telling you, I've been accused of Rick Winow overload.
Well, you know, these things happen. Stuff gets scheduled, and then it crosses over, and then we wind up seeing each other like 60 times in 2 weeks.
Right, and then we won't see each other for 6 months.
Right. But call me.
Now, for those of you at home, Rick is a guitarist who is perhaps one of, if not the hardest working musician I know. You've got how many dates did you book for 2016?
2016. Right now we're at 209 bookings
209
scheduled that have been done total and coming. So right now for 2016 it will be about
10 months, 209 gigs.
Right. Yeah.
So 365 days a year. Do the math, people, and you understand how often that Rick plays. Rick is also the guitarist who supports Pat Denizio of the Smithereens.
That's correct. Yeah.
You've also gigged with the Smithereens.
Yeah,
right?
We've opened up with Pat's other band, the Scotch Plainsmen.
The Scotch Plainsmen, correct. So you've been very busy.
And I play with Danny Coleman, too.
Yes, sometimes you and I gig together,
yes,
correct.
Absolutely.
But you've been a busy man. You've been a very busy man. Take us through a day in the life of Rick Winow's music.
Wow.
Let the people get to know Rick Winow. Go ahead.
Okay, well, it all started out when I was born in 1955. No, I'm just kidding. No, I guess a day in the life. About 3 years ago, well, I've been playing. I'm 61 now, just turned 61. Not really, 31.
Turned. You make yourself sound like sour milk. It
right.
turned overnight in the fridge.
At 61, you turn, right.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
I guess I started playing about 12 years old. It's funny, me and Mario were talking about what drew us to playing instruments, and it was actually the smell of a guitar in the guitar case, which is kind of funny, but anywho.
Do go on. Explain that one.
Well, there's something, you know, if you pick up guitar when you're young, you get that aroma, that thing, and that you get attracted to that. So, but that's how it all started. But basically, I started when I was about 12 years old, and with a guitar that was purchased for my brother, and I started plinking off the themes to the TV shows that were on TV, and one thing led to another, and here I am today. In this fine age and having a pretty fun time, you know, doing it. About 3 years ago, I decided to start doing acoustic solo work, which anybody that's done it, it's very challenging and it's a lot of work, and you're doing over 60 songs a night, you know, per gig. And I've been fortunate enough to build a nice business out of it and work a lot and meet a lot of great people along the way. And,
you also meet a lot of not so great people along the way.
Of course, well, that's any business, but the music business has those people, of course. Yeah. But
you know, you have to, in this business, you have to be able to separate the wolves from their sheep's clothing a lot of the times.
Yeah, true.
And it's something that only comes with experience,
sure,
so to speak. You know, you're funny. You said the smell of a guitar in a guitar case. I was just telling somebody the other day how as a 12-year-old kid, now I smoke the occasional cigar.
Okay.
As
Coming out now, isn't it?
It's
Go
all.
ahead.
It's it. It's all. It's. I have to fess up.
All right.
I smoke the occasional cigar. As a child, I think the reason why I liked cigar smoke, or the smell of cigar smoke, because it always reminded me of Little League Baseball. There was something about going to the ball field and the smell of the fresh cut grass and the infield mix. And we had this umpire who used to. This guy was as tall as wide as he was tall. I mean, big guy, and he used to smoke cigars. And he would smoke cigars, and he would smoke a pipe, and it just. But the aroma of all those things mixing together was like to a 12-year-old kid was intoxicating. It's like, oh man, what is that? It smells good, and it really motivated me to play baseball. Because I enjoyed going to the ballpark. Then I discovered rock and roll, and it was all downhill from there. But that's,
of course,
that's something totally different. But yeah, so I get it. Now, you just threw it out there and mentioned that you just recently turned 61 years old. And did you think at this point in your career that you would or life that you would be actually experiencing probably the best part of your musical career?
Well, it's like right now it's pretty much equal to when I did the band thing. I did bands for like 45 years, and the band circuit was pretty busy in the late 60s, 70s, and 80s. Going into that, there were a lot of places, a lot of venues that had music 7 days a week. So. But then business slowed down, of course, with the band thing. And about 3 years ago, I decided to start doing the solo stuff, and it just blossomed into something I really enjoy. And it's very challenging. Anybody that's done solo work, which basically puts you out there, I don't use any effects, no loopers, nothing, which are fine if you want to use that. But if you're sitting there with a guitar and your vocals, like I said earlier, doing 60 plus songs a night, it's kind of exhausting, but it's a good exhausting because when you're driving home, it's like you've done something you really loved, and you're exhausted from that. And it's
now what do you, as a musician? Because I know, and if Mario was in here, he'd be able to back me up on this. You just said you used to be able to play 7 nights a week.
Yeah.
And what area was that in?
Well, it was Essex County, and then
so North Jersey,
North Jersey, okay. South Jersey too sometimes.
Down where I grew up in the Trenton-Hamilton area, there was a bar on every corner in this section called Chambersburg, or so it seemed. And you could play, conceivably, 5, 6, 7 nights a week. And it all changed in the mid-'80s when you had down there, you had drunk driving laws, you had... the age went from 18 to 21.
Right, true.
About 15 years ago now, I guess, they enacted the smoking ban. So you can't smoke in these venues. So the places that had live music began to dry up.
Yeah, and then also we had that 2-letter word DJ thing. I have nothing against DJs, but it took a lot away from the business
sure.
too.
Why would they?
Especially weddings,
Yeah,
wedding you can always count on as a musician because there were always weddings. But then when the DJ circuit started, people realized, well, if I can get for half the money, I can get this, and
that hurt several hundred instead of that
hurt it
couple
too.
thousand. Yeah, I get it, and it's kind of attributed everything. The venues have shrunk. The places that support original music, of which you are an original artist, but you make your living basically playing other people's material.
I sneak the original stuff in there, don't say anything, and you get to see what the reaction you get.
Right. I know because and yours go over very well. Yeah. But there's no venues really that support original music like they used to years ago. They've shrunk. So as an artist, what do you do to get your music out there? Because you're in the studio now. Yeah,
I'll be back in the studio this Saturday, and also in November, working on the CD that's taken me over a year to almost compile and finish. there's about 8 tunes in there and 3/4 recorded. But basically, to get it out there, the technology, the internet and everything, it's really changed the whole perception. I mean, I know guys that are successful, have gold records, etc., that are out there, and they have to tour to make money now, which, the business has changed,
Yeah, and the business hasn't necessarily changed for the better.
No, it's a lot different now,
I had a guest on my radio program last evening who was saying how, the days of the concept record are gone.
Yeah.
There are no more Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon or even something like Michael Jackson's Thriller, where everything kind of
flowed together
or had a theme, because now everybody just worries about digital downloads. Now,
that was an interesting part in the music business when that whole Napster thing started.
So how do you combat that? How do you make people want to download all 8 songs off of Rick Winow's second disc or first disc? What is it, first or second?
Second,
right? Yeah.
And well, that's a good question, Danny. It really is, because now what I started doing is basically, when I started this new CD, it's songs. This isn't my the end of my life or anything, but there's songs that I've written during the course of my lifetime that I've always wanted to record and never got to. So that's basically what this. Once this is done, it's different flavors. The first song I already released, it's called "Take That Chance." It's actually an R&B tune. Now, everybody, when they first heard this song, they looked at me, and when they heard it, they said, "This is, you wrote this?" And I'm like, because it's not really. I'm mostly a rocker, but it was something that I always wanted to do and always wanted to finish, and I did. And I put that on iTunes, and I think I made a whole $14 on it, in the course of a year. So I am buying that villa in Spain. It's going to be really great.
Is that what they're going for now? $14?
$14, yeah.
Villas in Spain. If you want a villa in Spain, $14 right here.
Yeah.
Rick will take care of that.
So basically, my approach right now is to release a song, reach the songs one at a time when they're done. And but at this point, I do it because I love it. You got to remember, I started this when I was 12. There's people that get aggravated, that drop out of doing this because of the difficulty of the business, and you got so many others that stick to it and do it because they love it, and they've always loved it, And through the course of your life, you take hits that are in a personal side of your life, but there's always been one constant. I've taken some hits in life, but people have taken worse hits, meaning, problems, tough times. The one thing that always stays with you is the music, and you realize that that's always something been a part of you. We were discussing before. It's like being bitten by a werewolf at a young age, and it's never going to leave you. It's a disease. It's an obsession.
It's a bug.
It's a bug.
It may lay dormant.
But it's always there.
But it's a bug.
And
So, yes, it is. I get it.
Yeah.
If you're just logging in, this is One More with Danny Coleman, and I am Danny Coleman. And one of our sponsors this evening will be the Downtown All-Stars of Red Bank, actually. Dee Dee and Laura Strawberry Pie were in here last week.
I love those girls.
And they were
Sweethearts.
involved with that. But they've got another charitable CD that they're putting out again this year. The last one was Bright Lights on Broad Street. And this one is called Magic on the Navesink.
Nice.
Navesink River, right down the road here a little bit. And it'll feature original works by artists such as Colossal Street Jam, who will be my guests next week.
Nice.
On Rock On Radio. Dawn Hopkins, DJ Pinelli, John Hathaway. Magic on the Navesink is being produced to benefit the Red Bank Elks Lodge number 233 veteran support programs. Downtown All-Stars' first compilation CD, Bright Lights on Broad Street, was in support of Little Kids Rock, which provides free music instruction and instruments to underserved public school districts across the United States, and is available on the Downtown All-Stars website and from select retailers. The Downtown All-Stars of Red Bank, LLC, is a collective of local musicians and performing artists bound together to raise both funds and awareness for charities and worthy causes using the immeasurable power of music. Go to redbankallstars.com and follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/redbankallstars for more information. So, they are a proud sponsor of One More with Danny Cole.
All right.
Now, if I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second, because I wanted to go to you, Charlie, and I wanted to come back to you, but excuse me. When you did this disc and set out to do it, what was, other than you really wanted to do it, and today, of course, all of this costs cash.
Yeah, yes, it does.
What was the impetus to have you do it?
I got a lot of requests, But what I started doing was during my cover gigs, I'd start doing my the originals. And what I usually do is I'll go through the series of what I pick, whatever I decide to do next. I usually don't have a set list. I just sort of pull it out when I judge the crowd. So I started doing was throwing in original songs in set list. And what started happening was people would come out and say, "Who was that? Who did that second song or the third thing?" And once it happened the first time, I was like, "All right, well, and I would say it was me." And they would say, "Oh, that's pretty good." That happened once. Well, after it happened about the fourth time, I said, "You know what? I got to get some of this stuff recorded." And especially like there's a couple of tunes. One tune I wrote for my kids. As we all know, I have several of them. 7. Love each one of them. And it was a song called "Daddies Never Go Away." And it was like, it reminds me of one of those one-hit wonder type of songs, but that'll be on this CD. And basically, you go through, as you write through your years, you look through your notes, you look through songs. For instance, I found a notebook in my closet. That was another inspiration. I found a notebook in a closet, and I started looking at the lyrics, and there were songs there that I forgot I ever wrote, and I never recorded. Well, the music's there, everything else is there, but I'm like, oh my gosh, And then I had heard a story about a woman who was actually a closet author, wrote at home. Well, the story, what actually happened, and it's a true story, is neighbor knew the woman next door, never came out of her house, much. She passed away, so the daughter came by and said, "I'm going in my mom's house if you'd like to come in, can you come with me? Just, I need company." So they found this desk drawer full of poems, and such that no one really, her daughter knew that the woman wrote, but she didn't know to what extent she wrote, There was just some beautiful poetry in there and stuff that probably could have been published had she put it out there. So I heard this story, I'm like, you're getting older. I mean, I was getting older, and I'm saying, if I go, I'm not going anywhere. So nobody get excited that I owe money, that I owe money to. Or anything.
At least hang around for the next hour.
Yeah, the next hour, okay. Oh, jeez, can't do it. But I said, how horrible would it be, for me to have written this stuff and not to at least do another CD, or at least something for my kids to have, later on. And so, because here's a song, especially that song that I wrote for the kids, and they would never know it. So that's one of the songs on the CD. And that's basically, there's such a legacy. Like, this woman left all those poems and everything. Nobody knew it. I mean, now the family has it, but she was a talent. She was comparable to anything that was out there. And it's just a shame that she never got to expose the world to it.
So obviously you give a lot of thought to your lyrical content in your material.
Yeah, a lot of it's romance, which is kind of interesting.
Go ahead.
We're not going to get into that subject.
Go ahead. We've got time.
Excuse me.
Because, when you get to be, in our age bracket, you've got scars. You've got
there's some scars.
You've got battle scars.
Yeah, sure.
Some are deep, some cut deep, some are on the surface, but they're scars nonetheless, and they make you who you are. And obviously, they affect your music. So.
Sure they do. Like the one song I'll probably do tonight. It's called a song called "Fallen." Well, that song is basically written about those relationships that last 30 or 40 years. You know, I mean, I had an opportunity to one of the places I play up in West Jersey. A couple came in, and the gentleman's escorting his wife to the table. They were elderly, I'd say, in about their 80s, and you know, you just like looking at them. Like I asked the waitress, I said, "Are they married?" She goes, "Oh, they've been married for a long time." And she said, "It's such a sad thing." I said, "Why is that?" He goes, "Well, she is going through dementia right now. At times she barely knows who he is. He goes, but he still brings her in for dinner every night." So that's, you know, you look at stuff like that and, you know, you kind of get inspired. Even though I've never had that type of long relationship. I mean, I have a beautiful relationship with my kids, you know. I've loved, you know, been loved, I guess. And but you look at somebody, which today is, as you know, is rare, like for 30, 40-year marriages. What is that new term they have now? Starter marriage that I've heard. I'm like, what the heck is that? You know, starter marriage? What is that? You
It's
know,
like a
starter house?
home. Yeah, I get
you know,
it. Yeah.
there's going to be another house, you know. So, but yeah, a lot of the stuff I write is about relationships I've never had, and who knows if I will. But you know, right now we're on a nice hiatus. I'm enjoying life. No stress, but it's kind of crazy, you know. I mean, you speak to other people that write, whether it's books, poetry, whatever, music, and a lot of the stuff is created in their minds. It's not really from real situations, and that's basically what's happening with a lot of my music. And I could see a smile, a face, you know, eyes. Somebody looks at me as they walk by. You know, I can sometimes I'll create a song out of that. You know, that whole. Well, we were raised during a time where on TV we had what? Or we'll get you another one. You know, just meet Daddy at the dealers after work, and you pick one. You know, all that. You know, during my time growing up, everything was like so like fantasy and reality. And then you get hit with
you had wholesome
wholesome
television,
program. Donna,
yeah.
you know, Donna Reed, which is kind of amazing.
Partridge Family and Brady Bunch, The Ghost of and Mrs. Muir. I mean, you know, you had all kinds of shows that painted these rosy pictures.
Yeah, pictures of life. Yeah,
and then you get out in the real world, and it's like, oops.
That's right. And then you learn about, you know, especially in the music business. You know, I mean, I think a lot of inspiration for a lot of us, people in my age bracket and our times, even for a lot of younger musicians now, are the Beatles, right? Well, why did we start playing too? You know, there were the girls around the Beatles screaming, saying, you know,
There
George.
are no bands like that today.
There are no bands like that today, but that sort of created that. But then when you start getting into the music business and realize how much work it is and that it's not all that rosy stuff, and, you know, I'm speaking from somebody who's been doing it from 12 years old. You know, I started playing in bands and clubs. I was 16. I was doing it underage. The drinking age was 18, but I was playing with a band up actually in Stanhope, New Jersey. And the bar owner didn't care, you know. But that's how I cut my teeth, you know, in the clubs, you know, doing the band stuff. And
how old were you when you played your first gig? Was it 16 out? Or?
No, my first gig was at the American Servicemen's Club in Irvington, New Jersey. I think I was 13. We had 4 guys in the band. We got paid $1. And the funny thing is, you know, other people can relate to this. When you don't have the equipment you need, you improvise. So what we did was we didn't have a mic stand, okay? We had a microphone. So the old music stands, they used to have the legs, they were foldable, and they would have a stem that comes up, and then you mount the actual music holder on that. Right. Well, what we did, we pulled the music holder off, and you were left with a stem that bent like this. We took tape, and we taped the microphone to the end of the music stand, and we would use that. But at that particular performance, the first paid gig, I remember I learned about polarity and stuff like that.
It was a shocking experience for you?
Yeah. So we're in the middle of, I mean, I remember it to this day. We're in the middle of singing a song and playing the guitar, and the microphone touched my lips, and I got zap. You know, it was like, wow. But that was the first gig, and then it went on from there. And and then we did the high school.
About.
Well, interesting. I used to play ice hockey. You know, just
We have a lot of
we have a lot in
commonalities
common
there.
with that. You're right. And I was playing in a place in Scotch Plains, which is Pat's hometown, and one of my friends from the team, who's a doctor, friend of Pat's, and helps him out, his mom out rather, and he came in, and Pat's walking behind him, and I'm like, "Oh, how did you get him here?" You know, I'm like, "That's Pat Denizio, right?" He goes, "Yeah, that's Pat Denizio." I'm like, he goes, "Well, I'm his mom's doctor." I'm like, "Okay." So Pat sat down, had dinner, and we had a conversation in between sets. And as he was leaving, he says, "Hey, kiddo," you know, Pat. He goes, "Hey, kiddo, give me your card. I may call you sometimes." So I'm like, "Yeah, okay." I said, "You're my friend's your mother's doctor, so you're being nice now." And I said, "So here's my card. Thank you. Thank you for being so nice to me." Well, lo and behold, I get a call from a place in Garwood called Crossroads.
Crossroads,
And they
yeah.
called me. He goes, Pat called and asked if you would open up for him in his one-man show. I said, yeah, okay. So after I saw Pat at Langosta, which you guys used to, do the radio broadcast, and Pat said to me, "Hey, you want to open up for me down here?" I said, "Sure." And so I did that. And then one morning I'm
I
driving
know,
to get...
I was there.
Yes, you were.
I was with you.
You were with me, right?
That's right.
You did it with me,
That's
actually.
right.
Yeah, you
Broadcast
right.
live on the air.
Right. So then
We were rock stars for 30 minutes.
yes, whole 30 minutes. But still now, right?
Yeah.
Right. This is going out all over the world. Right. But anywho, one day I'm driving to work, and anybody that's been through a divorce, and I've been through 16, I think, no. But or something
At
like
least
that.
it feels that way.
At least it feels
Yeah,
that
I
way.
know.
But I look at my cell phone. It's ringing. It's a call from California. So anybody that's owned property, a house, somebody's always calling to, "Oh, you got a bill," or "How would you like to sell your house to us?" Or so look, I blow it off. I say, "This must be a bill collector or something else." And when I finally parked and went to get my coffee, I look at the phone. There's a 2-minute something message. I'm like, "Wait, this is different. This is no." So it was Pat, and he, in his own cute way, he goes, "Hi, Rick, this is Pat Denizio to Smithereens." You'd think he was doing a radio show, yeah. And he goes, "I was wondering," he goes, I like the way you play. He goes, "I'm having trouble, playing with my arm. I'm having a little issue. Would you come and back me up? I got 2 months at Crossroads for a solo show,
Right.
Because you play strong. I like the way, if you're interested, call me back." So I called him back. I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And that was almost 2 years ago.
Right.
And we've been playing together on and off, during that period of time. And the funny part was, when I first said yes, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to do some Smithereen songs and some cover stuff, and it's going to be fine. Well, the big surprise I got the first rehearsal is he says, "All right," he goes, "Listen, we're going to do theme nights, okay? The first night's going to be Beach Boys, then we're doing Beatles, then we're doing the Monkees, then we're doing the Rolling Stones, then we're doing Tom Petty." And I'm like, huh?
So you
it's
had to learn all those
I had to learn all the
various
stuff that
artists.
I played at one time in my life or another. But, the cool part about going back and doing those songs again is that you see how everything's structured and where all the songs today came from and all the songs after that period came from,
Right.
all the chord changes. And we did a Buddy Holly night. And you look at some of that stuff, and then you look at the Beatles stuff, which the Beatles loved Buddy Holly, of course. We all know that. But it's so interesting, and just it's so interesting. You see how everything blends together, and any guitar player will tell you, it's just the progressions, the patterns, they're all the same. I mean, everything's basically in that little bubble.
I was listening to B.B. King's Blues Channel
Okay.
on Sirius on my XM radio on my pickup truck. And one of the things that B.B. King for whatever reason, Tom Petty was hosting a show on BB King's
Right.
Bluesville or whatever it was. And Tom Petty says, yeah, I remember, and he's saying how I talked to BB King. And I said to him, you hear that lick? I borrowed that from you. And BB King
Oh, everybody borrows. Yeah, sure.
And BB King looked at him and said, borrowed? You stole it, son. And we all steal. Well, not so much. Well, yeah, even drummers, we steal.
Everybody steals.
We steal from each other.
We call it borrowing. It's
Yeah.
what's a nicer word for it these days is networking.
Yeah, right.
We'll
put it together.
Put it together.
Yep. If you're just logging in, this is One More of Danny Coleman coming to you live from Monmouth Music right here in Red Bank, New Jersey. And my guest tonight is Rick Winow. And where'd you grow up? What town?
I grew up. I was born in Newark.
Newark.
And I grew up in Irvington, and since then I've been all around between Matawan, Old Bridge.
So you've traversed the state.
I've traversed the state.
You do.
North, south, east, west.
Do you have a certain gig? Now you're going to be doing a gig with Pat November 12th up in Boston, right?
Yeah, we're going to
on
Boston.
tour. You're going on the road.
Yeah, we're hitting the road. We got the buses all loaded up. Yeah. All right.
You driving?
It's a Kia Sportage.
You pick
Plenty of room.
up?
Well, the stuff with that is there's a guy who's 80s music. He's a legend, really. I mean, the stuff that he's written, and he wrote 99.9% of the Smithereens songs. I mean, there's some great tunes there. And between Blood and Roses, which that's a great. I mean, I love that tune. Some of the other stuff, you listen to. He did a duet with Suzanne Vega, who's a sweetheart.
Who's also like your best buddy now.
Well, yeah, we're friends. What she did for my daughter on her birthday was unbelievable. We've discussed it before. Basically, we had Pat had a 60th birthday party. Now, you have to understand that I'm a guy who's played pubs. All right, I think about age 22, I had an almost contract with A&M Records. Then after that, I guess it was 93, an almost contract with Atlantic as a lead singer for a band. And so there was a lot of almosts. But this relationship with Pat has given me the opportunity to experience stuff I'd never even dreamed of. I mean, the first time I got an opportunity to get a taste of what it's like to have that type of fame, we did a benefit for Rawway Rocks with Mike Peters at the Alarm. So you have to figure I'm in the room here, and I got Jim Brewer from Saturday Night Live, who was hosting the whole thing, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and the best part was, you walk in the front door, and the woman running the thing says, "Gentlemen, right this way. Here's your dressing room." I'm like, "Dressing room?
It's not the men's
What's
room.
What's a dressing room? It's not the men's room." My dressing room usually it's a stall and and I just change my shirt and I go out and play. And then you get the whole armband, wristband things right here. This gives you access to everything. I'm like, okay. You walk in a dressing room and it's a dressing room, lights, everything. The green room's right next door. You walk in, there's all kinds of stuff to eat, every liquor you can possibly think of, but that was sort of your wow moment. But anyway, I'm sitting there with, as I described, with all these other people sitting there, and I'm looking up at the ceiling. I'm like, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? How did this happen at age 59?
Right, yeah.
When it started. And Mike Peters looks at me, and he goes, and he's actually, are we allowed to curse? I don't even know, or I can't.
Sure.
All right, sure. All right, well, I'm quoting him. This is not language that I would normally use anywhere. Anyway. But he looks at me, he goes, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And I'm like, because I was like this. He goes, I said, "Do you honestly?" I said, he goes, "Yeah, what's up?" I'm like, "I'm looking at you here. I'm looking at Pat here, Jim there, Robin here. So I'm wondering, what am I doing here?" And you meet some nice musicians. He goes, "I just heard you play and sing." He goes, "You frickin' belong here just like any one of us." Now, to hear that from somebody who's made it, is like, just for them to take time to say that, after you've been working at this since you were 12, it's sort of like a wow moment.
Yeah.
And then after that, we had Pat's 60th birthday bash, which the Hooters, Smithereens, of course, Southside Johnny, Suzanne Vega, Marshall Crenshaw, Garland Jeffries, just an all-star cast, right? So then I play that show, and same type of setup, a green room, and another shot of what it tastes like, there, because I'm sitting in the green room there, and the woman running out, she goes, Rick, we're auctioning off those 10 guitars, we're raffling them off. You got to go sign them. I'm like, no. I was sitting there. I said, Cindy, no. I said, I'm just playing with Pat. She goes, no, you got to go sign the guitars. I'm like, she goes, you're playing it. I'm like, no, I'm not used to that stuff, Who wants my autograph or whatever? But I'm sitting there, and in her own inevitable way, she says, is this your name? I said, yeah. She goes, go sign that shit, I'm like, okay. So here I am signing, and I got Marshall Crenshaw here, the guys from the Hooters, and I'm like, what am I doing here? Another wow moment. But from that evening, I met Suzanne Vega after she performed. Now, you want to hear somebody acoustic that's really can grab an audience. What happened that day is Southside Johnny, who's a louder performer, different type of music. He went on just before Suzanne Vega. Like, there's people in the audience going, wow, Suzanne Vega's going on now. It's going to be difficult going from that music to this. Well, she had the audience like this, She started out with Luca, and you were like, I told her, that the hairs on my arms were standing up when I heard her do that. So I started talking to her downstairs afterwards, after we all performed. And she's a very approachable person, very nice person, and I'd spoken to my daughter, Julie, who was at that time turning 12. And she said, Daddy, who played? So I told her, and I mentioned Suzanne Vega. So she goes to her iPod and starts checking out Suzanne Vega songs. And, or she downloaded, actually, from the internet. She starts listening to Luca and Tom's Diner, which is another popular Suzanne Vega song. So her birthday was approaching, her 12th birthday was approaching. She was 11 at the time, actually. And I contacted Suzanne Vega, and I said, listen, can you do me a favor? I hate to ask you, but I'll do anything for my daughter. I said, can you send her a autographed picture for her birthday? She would really love it. She's been listening to your music, and it's amazing because, Suzanne Vega was mostly popular in the 80s.
In the 80s,
and that music is carried over to my daughter, who's at that time was going to be 12, and I'm like, and she said, of course I will. So she said, just give me the address, and we'll take care of that. And 2 days before my daughter's birthday, I get a message from Suzanne, and she says, package went out for your daughter yesterday. So I said, okay, great. So my daughter calls me the next day. She gets an overnight package. She says, Daddy, I got a package from Suzanne Vega. I'm like, well, honey, do you like the picture? She goes, I like everything. I'm like, everything? Well, Suzanne took time. She sent her a full CD collection. Another couple CDs, the picture, which is all I asked for, and a few other items, everything hand autographed with a Sharpie, personalized to my daughter for happy birthday. Now, it's bad. A lot of people in the music business get a bad rap, some for good reasons because they are jerks, some, egomaniacs. But here's somebody that just realized that her music meant something to somebody. And she and being like a sister in the music business, I've never even achieved a quarter of that fame, or even less than that. That she achieved in the 80s. To have her treat me like an equal and do that for my daughter, I'm never going to forget that. It's just, these are the experiences I've had, like, at this age.
Isn't it funny? You work your whole life to get to that point, and when it gets there, you're like, do I really belong here? And or pinch me type of deal. I had a similar experience to that with one of those candlelight concerts for epilepsy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I've been lucky enough to play drums for Gary Hoey for a couple tunes
Right.
at the Pony during a benefit IMC, an epilepsy benefit. But Eric Miller really hooked me up from the Candlelight Concert Series, and he's like, I need a percussion guy as tribute for Sam Cooke. And I go to the rehearsal, and the house band are two session fellas, two guys from Philly, drummer Grant Calvin West, and a keyboard player named Dave Zabinski, who's fantastic. And then the rest of the house band is Paul Pesco, who tours with Alicia Keys and Madonna, and is the guitarist from Live at Daryl's House, and Doug Wimbush of Living Color. You know, and there's me. And then the first person in is Gary U.S. Bonds.
Okay, doesn't that
for
feel like
the rehearsal?
It's like, wow, right?
You know, I had spoken with Gary several times before that, doing interviews and things, but now I'm on stage with him.
Yeah.
And then the next person in is Sarah Dash from LaBelle, and then you've got Corey Glover, also from Living Color, and you've got all kinds of people filtering in, and I'm looking
It's a
around
wild
like,
feeling,
do
isn't it?
I belong here?
Yeah.
You know, and then same thing backstage. As a matter of fact, it's in my truck right now, a poster that we all had to sign because they were going to auction off for charity, and I did the same thing you did.
I'm like,
do I have to
no,
sign?
I don't have to sign this.
You know, I'm not
No,
those
it's just
guys.
not me, you
right?
know, it's-
No, sign the poster.
Yeah.
So it's a humbling yet exciting experience, you know. So tell us more about the CD.
Well, it's this Saturday. I hope to finish 99% of the second song.
Do we have a title yet?
I've played with the title. You know, I was going to use the word life songs,
Okay.
but just a couple other titles that I'm playing with. You know, I don't want to make it too much like it's my last CD, but I am financing this one, so you know how that is. You know, I'm getting help. I have the good fortune to have become friends with a guy named Jared Zalia, who's who runs Modern Music Academy. He's a producer engineer that sat on recordings with Journey, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, and he happened to locate to Montclair and open up a music store, a music studio / recording studio. And then he just moved to a bigger facility, but he's really been a dear friend to me, and he's helping me a lot. And he's a top-notch engineer, but for some reason he's taken a liking to me. We've become friends, and he's helping me with the project. And there's one song, "Take That Chance," which is on iTunes right now. It's under Rick Winowski, which is my real name. Oh, it's been let out of the bag. Oh, jeez. They cut the SKI. Well, $2 million in management consultation. They said, you need to cut the SKI off your last name, so make it Rick Winow. But what do I do if I play in Asbury Park? Everybody, I get introduced. Rick Winowski, and I'm like, oh, there go the cards. I just printed out 500 business cards. But it's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, as it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, you do what you think is going to work.
Right.
And you keep trying. One of the I had like a bazillion things going through my head. First off, for those of you at home who are watching this, if you have a suggestion or there's something you think you may like to see on this show, One More with Danny Coleman, please send your suggestions in an email to dcoleman.drice, D-R-I-C-E, dcoleman.drice@gmail.com, or you can follow us along on Twitter. Which is at One More Stream. So that's a new Twitter account. So please follow us.
Twittering, are you?
Twittering. We're a bunch of tweets. How about you? Website. How do we find Rick Winow?
Well, there's
Ski.
surprisingly no. That's SKI's cut off.
Rick Winow Ski. Go ahead.
There's rickwinow.com. That's rickwinow.com, my website. Also, I have songs on YouTube. I'm Reverb Nation. If you want to be friends, you can go to Rick Winowski, and I'll gladly friend you. And my schedule comes out on there, and that's rickwinow.com.
Yeah, we also have the Facebook page here at One More with Danny Coleman, which is the Facebook page. One More with Danny Coleman here. It's a Carousel Arts production. I don't know, Charlie, did I say that at the beginning? Did I say Carousel Arts? I'm counting on you, man. He's not even paying attention to me. Look.
Make funny faces.
He's not.
Oh.
Hey, it is. It is what it is, as they say.
Yes, it is.
Gigs. As I said at the beginning of the program, you are the hardest working man, if not one of the hardest working men I know as far as gigs. What do you have coming up for gigs?
Well, this week I've taken some time. I'll be playing Thursday. I'll be at Crows in Sparta. It's a place I play about 12 times a year. I've taken off, because I'm in the studio on Saturday, I've taken off every day this week to prepare. I got to arrange keyboard parts for the song I'm working on, so I'm trying to keep it light so I'm not too exhausted. But actually, I got the coolest request, and I'm not going to say where it is. I got a call yesterday from a gentleman who works at one of the places that I play at. And, as a musician, you always, thing you want to do with your music is to know that you touch somebody in some way, through what you do. And I've never had a request like this. He said, Rick, he goes, I'm proposing to my girlfriend on Sunday at a location. I'm not going to name it because I don't want to spoil it in case they're watching. He goes, would you play a song as I'm proposing to my girlfriend? And it's going to be in a park. I'm like, wow. I'm like, you want me to play while you're asking her to marry you? He said, yeah. And I was like, absolutely. And I mean, if you think about that, for somebody to ask you to do that, that's like tremendous. I mean, it's just like it's very moving.
It's like a camping trip, man. It's intense.
Yeah.
Intense.
Oh, he's got 1 million of them, folks.
We have 1 million.
Danny, did you go golfing today?
I did. I played golf today. I did. I played golf in the annual charity golf tournament that I am in every year, and I had a good time. I had a blast today. I commented about that when I returned to the clubhouse afterwards. We were at the dinner. You guys laughed an awful lot out there today. Hey, that's what it's about, right?
We have a little party at the 18th tee, 18th hole.
All day.
All day.
And again, essentially, that's why we play music.
Yeah.
If it wasn't fun, we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And with that, why don't you get yourself ready to play a couple of tunes? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Monmouth Music a little bit here.
All right.
I will be speaking about Monmouth Music.
Okay.
Monmouth Music, which is where OneMore with Danny Coleman is coming from. So it's established in 1987. 1987. First day with the new mouth, Winow. You know what I mean?
I know. It's the golf game.
Monmouth Music is located in the center of historic Red Bank, New Jersey. And for 30 years, Monmouth Music has served the local and traveling musician with brand name instruments and accessories at everyday low prices. Monmouth Music also welcomes aspiring musicians of all levels with a broad selection of affordable instruments, including school orchestra instruments for both sale and rental. Monmouth Music provides student lessons on all levels provided by our long-tenured music teaching staff. In addition to providing brand-name instruments and complete lesson plans for students of all levels, Monmouth Music is home to Bob Pinto's Guitar Hospital, specializing in string instrument repairs. There's also an in-house professional amplifier repair by BP Electronics. Monmouth Music is owner-operated, which ensures you will get professional and personal service every day. Come to Red Bank, New Jersey, and visit Monmouth Music. Make the trip. You will not be disappointed. And once again, I want to thank Mario DiBartolo, the owner of Monmouth Music, for allowing us to set up shop in here every Monday night, 8 p.m., One More with Danny Coleman via Carousel Arts Productions. And without further ado, and making everybody wait, a dewdrop. A dew. That dew turns to frost. Permafrost.
Oh, my goodness. It was a good golf game, wasn't it?
It was really good. Rick Winow.
Okay. All right, so I talk about this song, Falling, which is about those long-lasting relationships. Here we go. some nights they may be cold, but lady, all that can never bother me, 'cause I have you home. Guess I'm just falling in love with you once more, falling in love again with you. Some moments they made me cloudy, and some nights they may be cold, but later, oh, that could never bother me, 'cause I have you home. Guess I'm just falling in love with you once more, falling in love again with you. Guess I'm just falling in love with you, it's for sure, falling in love again with you. With you. With you. With you. Thanks so much. All right, now we're going to go back to the old rock and roll roots. It's a song about the relationship between a 25-year-old and an 18-year-old. It's called Who Do You Love? Lights are flashing in this eastern town, my head's still spinning from you. The way you treat me, dawn's got me upside down. Gotta pull away real soon, but you tell me, baby, that you still love me, and I sit here, listen to you. Although my body's happy, my mind's alright, don't know what I'm gonna do. Won't you tell me, who's your lover? Was it somebody else, or maybe, honey, could it be me? Yeah, would you love? Would you love? When we're sitting close and getting about as close as can be, you never seem to complain. And we start making love and everything is gone. Covers up all the pain. When you look into my eyes, won't you tell me, darling, just what do you think you see? Are you looking for an open from some years gone by? Just plain looking for me? Won't you tell me, who's your lover? Or is it somebody else? Maybe, honey, could it be me? Yeah. The way you treat me, down's got me upside down. Gotta pull away real soon, but you tell me, baby, that you still love me. And I sit here, listen to you. Although my body's happy, my mind's alright, don't know what I'm gonna do. Won't you tell me, who's your lover? Was it somebody else, or maybe, honey, could it be me? Oh yeah, who do you love? you love? Who do you love? Yeah. Honey, who do you love? Who do you love? Yeah. Who do you love?
Fantastic.
Thank you, Danny, my buddy.
There you go. Rick Winow, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to One More with Danny Coleman. Next week, our guests are former Nectar Fire Ballet and Renaissance guitarist Rich Shalanda and Miss Marianne Costello has a new DVD, and she's an award-winning author. Till next week, good night.
Good night.